What's up, everybody? Welcome to Ringside Intel. It's your man Ant Walker here with some UFC 300 talk. Historic card coming up this Saturday. So let's go ahead and jump right into these prelim predictions. All right, so first up on our list to talk about right now, we've got the featured prelim, and that's former champion Yuri Prochazka taking on Alexander Rakic. I'd like Yuri to win this fight by decision. I think Yuri is very good at creating chaos and just thriving in this chaos. Rakic has a much more sort of laid-back style, but I think Yuri is more the guy that can force that. He can kind of bring you into his world, and for better or worse, that's what he likes to do, and I think it's going to be better for him this time. I think he gets the win. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a finish, but I just don't quite think that's going to happen. I think Rakic's going to be tough enough to last, but not good enough from the standpoint of the judges. All right, so next up, we have another former champion, and that's Aljamain Sterling, making his featherweight debut against perennial contender Calvin Kattar. This is an excellent fight. It's sort of the classic striker versus grappling match, but of course it gets a little more complex than that. My quick pick, I like Aljamain Sterling to win this. Now, let me just say that if we see the same version of Sterling that lost his belt to Sean O'Malley last August, it's probably not going to go well for him. Kattar is too sophisticated of a striker, and you can't just run at him chin first. What I think is going to happen, though, I think Aljamain is going to use his kicks. He's a very, very good kicker. I think he's going to exploit the fact that Calvin Kattar is coming off of a leg injury, and that he also stands in a boxing stance, a little more susceptible to leg kicks. I think Aljo's going to take advantage of that, use his kicks to then close the distance, smother him, drag it to the ground, or do his infamous backpack. I like him to win by submission in the second round. All right, next up, we have another former champion, and that's Holly Holm, the former bantamweight champion, taking on Kayla Harrison, the PFL champion, who has now defected and come over to make her octagon debut on Saturday. It's very difficult for me to pick against Holly Holm right here for a couple of reasons. One, Kayla Harrison typically fights at 155. She's fought a one-off fight in Invicta at 145 once, and she didn't seem to have any issues with the weight, but this is going down to 135. So this is 20 pounds lighter than what she's used to competing at. They always talk about the octagon jitters, that no matter how big you were before you stepped into the UFC on your debut, you tend to be nervous. That might play a factor in here, but Holly Holm, let's not, make any mistake about this. Holly Holm is still a very, very skilled, very well-seasoned fighter. She's someone who is very difficult to look good against. And Kayla Harrison's taking a massive leap in competition right now. Holm has been in there with the absolute best, and those results speak for themselves, even though she's come up short a couple times, but she has won against some all-time great women's fighters. I like Holm to win this by decision, and I'm sorry to disappoint everybody, but I don't think this is going to be much of an action fight. I think Holly is going to play the safe route. Use that experience, use her superior striking skills, use her great defensive grappling, and sort of keep things at bay and make Harrison really work for it. All right, next up, we have Sadiq Youssef and Diego Lopez. Man, this is another one of those great style matchups. I'm leaning toward Lopez here. I'm leaning toward Lopez by submission. I think he's aggressive enough to stay in Sadiq Youssef's face and sort of smother that really dynamic kickboxing game that he has, and that athleticism that he relies upon a lot. I think Lopez is going to do a good job of just smothering him, just getting in his face. He stays in your face too long, and the frustration, the fatigue that sets in when you got this guy just right up on you and trying to grab you, push you against the fence and whatnot. I think he does eventually drag it down, and I think when he gets it down to the ground, I think he finds the submission. I believe that's going to happen late second, early third is when I see this one ending. Jalen Turner and Renato Moicano, another great fight at lightweight. This should be a pretty wild one, I would say. But I gotta go Jalen Turner here. I think this is gonna be a pretty quick one. I'm seeing an early second round finish for Jalen Turner. I think it's gonna be a KO. I mean, he is a much bigger guy. The length, the range, more power. I think Jalen Turner should come away with this one. And another former champion, Jessica Andrade, taking on Marina Rodriguez. Andrade, I got a TKO in the third for her. I think she is too aggressive. I think she's going to stay in Rodriguez's face and eventually find something. All right. And we know Andrade, if she's in your face and she's throwing hammers, you might get hit. Yeah, she has not had the greatest run as of late, but I will take her losses against Erin Blanchfield and Yan, and women who are in line for title opportunities, as opposed to the win that Rodriguez just got over Michelle Waterson, which it just doesn't mean as much as it used to. All right, we got Bobby Green and Jim Miller. This is another great style clash right here, but I see Bobby Green walking away with the victory here. I think he's a very slick fighter. He's defensively sound for the most part. He's also a very, very good defensive wrestler. He's not someone that you're really just going to take down and dominate and just out wrestle. I think the footwork makes it difficult for Miller to sort of just stay in his face and sort of force the grappling, and he's got to deal with more range. Maybe this will be different if this were a 5-rounder. If we're talking about a 5-rounder, Jim Miller's probably eventually going to be able to grab a hold of you and then maybe start changing the tides, but I don't think it happens this time. And surprisingly, as the curtain jerker for the evening, if what I'm reading on the bout order is correct here, 2 former champions, Deiveson Figueiredo and Cody Garbrandt, will be fighting one another, and this fight is going to be wild while it lasts. I don't think it's going to last very long. I see Figgy getting his hand raised, 2nd round knockout, and I think it's going to be like one of those flush knockouts too. Figgy and Cody, they have a very similar mentality, right? Bite down on the mouth guard, swing hammers. Thing is, Figgy's got a better chin for it these days, quite frankly. And Cody, at his best, is so incredibly skilled, and I've seen with my own eyes, like he did against Pedro Munez until it went left for him have this amazing sequence of defense and footwork and head movement and whatnot, and then he takes a shot, and then it's like, okay, wild berserker rage. I think that's going to happen here, and if it doesn't turn into wild berserker rage that gets him exposed and gets him caught, it's going to be the shot that used to take him there, because the chin's just not what it used to be. So that'll do it for the UFC 300 prelim picks. Tomorrow, stay tuned to Ringside Intel, because we're going to have the main card picks coming at you. So remember to like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend, tell that friend to tell 10 more friends. Peace.